On earth, Jesus is like you and me. But in heaven, the one who makes the law is indeed Jesus. Muslims, why don't you understand that Isa can walk like a man? We are only his photocopy, his image cut into small pieces, just as the computers we make are images of Allah on a smaller scale. But that doesn't make us gods. Far from it. Would copies be better than the original? Would copies be better than God himself? In heaven, everything is different. In heaven, it is indeed Jesus who makes the law. We go up to heaven when we sleep. He who lives in heaven is alone. The throne of Allah is the chair of Jesus. For this topic, I am referring in particular to the Space Sheriff Gavan series. There is a difference between man and robot. In his robotic form, Gavan is stronger, as if to say that robots come from space. Space is also our inner world, like chaos or creation, production or destruction. The boss of the C-Rex, better known as Lu IBBMX-11 aka Don Horror, is both a spaceship and a supercomputer. Who says ship says Messiah, because the Messiah is the ship that leads us. We are therefore his vassals, well-guided and well-led. Lu IBBMX-11 is the computer at the origin of the mutants and aliens called C-Rex. The C-Rex live in the ship Lu IBBMX-11, and they come down to Earth for the domination of the cosmos. If Lu IBBMX-11 has the number 11 in his name, this implies that he is the 11th in a line of galaxies or universes. In the space series, however, we do not know if robots come before humans or if humans come before robots. I say this because life is like a game. Allah is the supercomputer and humans are his AI. Allah is the cosmos and we are the stellar stars. Unique life forms smaller than the universe that encloses us. Pilot, however, remains the Messiah. He is the direction of navigation, history. Chronology does not go back into an infinite past but advances toward a future past. In other words, we know that the central point is the Messiah. This is also why we place our chronology, that is, our dates, in relation to his existence. Why date Jesus rather than Muhammad? It's because Jesus is the pioneer of history, not Muhammad, nor even Adam. Since Jesus, we have moved from the Stone Age to the technological age. This is why we predict that man comes before the robot. Therefore, the Matrix was created by man through an unconscious dream. The debate can be opened, namely, who takes precedence, Allah or Jesus. The Jews called Jesus Rabbi, which means father or master. But Jesus told them that his father is greater than him in power, but not necessarily in knowledge. If the world were to be cybernetic as in the Space series or as in any other mecha series, that would make Allah a super quantum computer. In Space Sheriff Gavan, the world is both cybernetic and biological. We are evolving towards cybernetics. Perhaps we are evolving towards a past future? In order to mark in time which of the chicken or the egg does not acquire the first. It is an unresolved paradox, except for myths. If the world were to be biological as it is, that makes Allah a great spirit, as described in Alma 18 of the Book of Mormons. And I, Jesus, am the person who relates it, the correspondent. Let us read. And it came to pass that King Lamoni caused his servants to come forward and make them bear witness of all the things which they had seen concerning this subject. And when they had all testified of the things which they had seen, and he had learned how faithfully Ammon had preserved his flocks, and also how great a force he had fought against those who sought to kill him, he was exceedingly astonished, and said, Surely this is more than a man. Behold, is not this the great Spirit who sends such great punishments upon this people because of their murders? And they answered the king and said, Whether he be the great Spirit or a man we do not know, but this we do know, that he cannot be killed by the king's enemies, neither can they scatter the king's flocks while he is with us, because of his skill and great strength. Therefore we know that he is the king's friend. And now, O king, we do not believe that a man has such great power, for we know that he cannot be killed. And then, when the king heard these words, he said to them, Now I know that this is the great Spirit, and he has come down at this time to preserve your lives, that I may not kill you as I have killed your brothers. Now this is the great Spirit of whom our fathers spoke. Now this was the tradition of Lamoni, which he had received from his father, that there was a great spirit. Notwithstanding the fact that they believed in a great spirit, they thought that all that they did was right. Nevertheless, Lamoni began to fear exceedingly that he had done wrong in slaying his servants, for he had slain many of them because their brethren had scattered their flocks at the watering place, and thus, because they had suffered their flocks to be scattered, they had been slain. Now it was the practice of these Lamanites to stand by the waters of Sebus to scatter the flocks of the people, that thereby they might drive out many that were scattered unto their own land, seeing it was a practice to plunder among them. And it came to pass that King Lamoni inquired of his servants, saying, Where is this man that hath such great power? And they said unto him, Behold, he is busy feeding thy horses. Now the king had commanded his servants, before the time that they were to water their flocks, to prepare his horses and chariots, and to bring him into the land of Nephi, for a great feast had been declared in the land of Nephi by the father of Lamoni, who was king over all the land. Now when King Lamoni heard that Ammon was engaged in preparing his horses and chariots, he was still more astonished because of the faithfulness of Ammon, saying, Surely there never was a servant among all my servants that was so faithful as this man, for he even remembereth all my commandments to do them. Now I know of a surety that this is the great spirit, and I would fain have him come unto me, but I dare not. And it came to pass that when he had prepared the horses and chariots for the king and his servants, Ammon went in unto the king, and he saw that the king's countenance was changed. Therefore he was about to return out of his presence. And one of the king's servants said to him, Rabbana, which is interpreted to mean mighty or great king, considering that their kings were mighty. And so he said to him, Rabbana, the king desires that you remain. Therefore Ammon turned to the king and said to him, What do you want me to do for you, O king? And the king answered him not for an hour, according to their time, for he knew not what to say to him. And it came to pass that Ammon said to him again, What do you desire of me? But the king answered him not. And it came to pass that Ammon, filled with the Spirit of God, then perceived the king's thoughts. And he said to him, Is it because you have heard that I defended your servants and your cattle, and that I killed 7 of their brethren with the sling and with the sword, and that I cut off the arm of others in defense of your cattle and your servants? Behold, is this what causes you to marvel? I tell you, what is it that causes you to marvel so great? Behold, I am a man, and I am your servant, therefore whatever you desire to be just, that will I do. Then when the king heard these words, he marveled again, for he saw that Ammon could discern his thoughts. But even so, King Lamoni opened his mouth and said to him, Who are you? Are you that great spirit who knows everything? Ammon answered and said to him, I am not. And the king said, How do you know the thoughts of my heart? You can speak boldly and speak to me about these things, and also tell me by what power you killed and cut off the arm of my brothers who were scattering my flocks. And now, if you will speak to me about these things, whatever you desire, I will give it to you, and if it were necessary, I would have you guarded by my armies. But I know that you are stronger than all of them. Nevertheless, whatever you desire from me, I will grant it to you. Now Ammon, who was wise and yet harmless, said to Lamoni, Will you listen to my words if I tell you by what power I do these things? And this is what I desire of you. And the king answered him and said, Yes, I will believe all your words. And so he was taken by stratagem. And Ammon began to speak to him boldly and said to him, Do you believe that there is a God? And he answered and said to him, I do not know what this means. And then Ammon said, Do you believe that there is a great spirit? And he said, Yes. And Ammon said, It is God. And Ammon said to him again, Do you believe that this great spirit, which is God, created all that is in heaven and on earth? And he said, Yes, I believe that he created all that is on earth, but I do not know the heavens. And Ammon said to him, The heavens are a place where God dwells, and all his holy angels. And King Lamoni said, Is it above the earth? And Ammon said, Yes, and he looks down from above on all the children of men, and he knows all the thoughts and intents of the heart, for by his hand all were created from the beginning. And King Lamoni said, I believe all these things that you have spoken. Are you sent from God? Ammon said to him, I am a man, and man in the beginning was created in the image of God, and I am called by his Holy Spirit to teach these things to this people, that they may be brought to the knowledge of what is right and true, and part of that Spirit dwells in me, which gives me knowledge and also power according to my faith and desires which are in God. Then when he had spoken these words, Ammon began at the creation of the world, and also at the creation of Adam, and told him all things concerning the fall of man, and expounded to him and placed before him the records and the holy scriptures of the people, which had been spoken by the prophets, down to the time that their father Lehi left Jerusalem. And he also expounded to them, for it was to the king and to his servants, all the journeys of their fathers in the wilderness, and all their sufferings caused by hunger and thirst and their labor and so forth. And he expounded to them also what concerned the rebellions of Laman and Lemuel, and of the sons of Ishmael, yea, he related to them all their rebellions. And he explained to them all the records and all the scriptures from the time that Lehi left Jerusalem until the present time. But this was not all, for he explained unto them the plan of redemption which was prepared from the foundation of the world, and he made known unto them concerning the coming of Christ, and all the works of the Lord he made known unto them. And it came to pass that when he had spoken all these things and had explained them unto the king believed all his words. And he began to cry unto the Lord, saying, O Lord, be merciful, according to the abundant mercy which thou hast had unto the people of Nephi, be merciful unto me and my people. And now, when he had said this, he fell upon the ground as though he were dead. And it came to pass that his servants took him up and carried him unto his wife, and laid him upon a bed. And he lay as though he were dead for the space of 2 days and 2 nights. And his wife and his sons and his daughters wept over him, after the manner of the Lamanite, greatly lamenting his loss. Prayer, half man, half robot, the most valiant of heroes. Defender of the earth, like a courageous rainbow. Red, pink, green, yellow, and blue. Hero of the universe. The forces of evil, from the void of space, you will break them. You are going forth into adventures that prepare our future. Defender of the earth, many men dream of having your courage, your strength, your knowledge. Hero of the future. No one will be able to equal your valor, your boldness. Remain in our memories. Symbol of peace, justice, and freedom. Bioman, defender of the earth.